She walked into the Ferrari showroom like it was her living room, heels hitting the marble hard enough to make the glass cabinets hum. And before anyone could say welcome, she jabbed a finger at the red car on the turntable and said she would take that one for 6 months, on lease, today. The sales floor went quiet in that nervous way where everyone keeps moving but the air stops. I was 10 feet away, pretending to study a set of carbon ceramic brakes, and I knew that voice before I saw her face. My name is Grant Hale. I do not look like the guy who owns a Ferrari dealership. I look like a man who fixes his own sink and maybe borrowed the truck he is driving. I spent a decade turning wrenches in the army, then a stretch trading used cars out of a dusty warehouse behind a tire shop. And it turns out if you stack enough honest deals in a row, you can wake up one day with the keys to Rosso Crest Motors. I keep that part quiet because the business runs better when the customers do not feel watched, and because I like watching people forget I am there. The woman was Trisha Vale. If the name rings a bell, it is because she was the one who taped fake HOA notices to my front door last month and tried to charge my neighbor $300 for leaving his grill on the porch. She had that same voice now, the one that flattens everything it touches. A salesman named Eli did his best to steer her into the world the rest of us live in. He asked if she wanted to book a test drive or sit down to talk about allocation. Those are normal questions in this building. Trisha tilted her chin, told him again she would be taking it for 6 months, and said she knew the owner personally. She made sure everyone in the room heard the word personally. Our floor manager, Victor, took a breath and stepped in. Victor is the kind of guy who can talk an angry man off a ledge and then sell him a car he actually can afford. He explained that the brand does not do short-term leases like that, that orders are placed, builds are scheduled, and there are rules we do not bend. Trisha's cheeks went a shade of pink I have seen on bad paint jobs. She told him he would be out of a job by the afternoon and that her friend who owns the place would hear about this disrespect. I could feel Victor's eyes flick toward me for a half second, not asking for help, just checking the weather. I set my hand on the counter and let out a small laugh. I admit it, I wanted her to hear. She turned. Recognition hit like she had swallowed a lemon. "Oh, it is you," she said, and she looked me up and down like I had tracked mud on her shoes. "Do not think I forgot your little shack on Briar Lane. This is where people like me belong. Not you. Funny thing," I told her, and I kept my voice soft. "You are standing in my building right now and demanding a car from my dealership." Every keyboard stopped. Even the espresso machine seemed to wait for what came next. She laughed in a way that only works when the room is on your side. "Be serious," she said. "I know the owner, and he would never hire someone like you." I took one step closer so I would not have to raise my voice, and I said, "That powerful friend you keep mentioning. You are looking at him. If silence can be heavy, this one had weight." She blinked fast, then went for the move people make when truth does not fit the story in their head. She grabbed her phone and told me to prove it, show paperwork, call partners, or she would call the police right now for fraud. I nodded. "Call them, I will be right here." She paced between the cars and made the call on speaker like a stage actor who wants the balcony to hear, telling the dispatcher that a man was impersonating the owner of a luxury dealership and trying to sell her a car he did not own. The teenager near the back, a kid named Noah, who comes in every Saturday to stare at the 488s, lifted his phone and went live. 2 customers swapped glances like they had been handed front row tickets to a show they did not buy. Sirens do not belong in a showroom, but the colors looked good in the glass, red and blue sliding across red and silver bodywork. The doors opened and 2 officers stepped in. Sergeant Rivera led, tall with that patient calm that makes you stand up straighter without thinking, and Officer Brooks followed, younger, alert, the kind of guy who notices small things. Victor moved to greet them, but Trisha beat him to the punch, pointing at me like she was unveiling a culprit. "That is him," she said. "Arrest him." Sergeant Rivera did not look at her. He looked at me and gave a small nod. "Good afternoon, Mr. Hale." The nod was not for show. "He has eaten breakfast at my place, not at my house, at a diner I own on the edge of town because I got tired of waiting for pancakes that never arrived. Hot. We are not friends, but we have shaken hands enough times to know each other's names." Trisha's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. I could tell she was searching the air for a lifeline. Officer Brooks took the laminated sheet Trisha was clutching and raised it to the light. It was a fake HOA notice. I recognized her signature style. You could see the misspelled county name, the clip-art eagle, the watermark from a free template site faint as a ghost across the top. He turned it so she would have to see it the way it looked to everyone else. "Ma'am," he said, "this is not a legal document. It is not close. You do not need papers," she snapped. "The association makes the rules. This pool of cars belongs to the neighborhood." "Yes," she said, "pool, which tells you everything you need to know about the story she tells herself when she is alone." Sergeant Rivera kept his eyes on her. "We have been investigating forged notices in Sequoia Heights for 2 weeks," he said. "The description we were given is a woman who speaks for an association that does not exist and collects cash. Does that sound familiar?" I could hear the whisper move around the room like wind moving through leaves. The kid in the back breathed into his phone that this was going crazy, and the chat on his screen moved like a slot machine. Trisha went pale around the mouth and then red at the cheeks and then back to pale. She turned to me as if I had changed the rules on her in the middle of the game. "You set this up," she said. "You think you are powerful because you have money. You are nothing without that. No," I told her. "I am something because I worked for what I own, because I know how to stand still when someone tries to blow me over, and because unlike you, I do not need to lie to feel important." Officer Brooks asked if we had any video. The entire building laughed a little because there are more cameras in that room than in a small casino. Victor pulled up the clips from the last month, and on a screen behind the desk we watched Trisha stick fake notices to a dozen doors up and down Briar Lane. We watched her demand cash from a nervous college kid for having a bicycle on a balcony. We watched her step into my yard, pull her phone up to film, and tell me I was in violation of a block rule that only she had heard of. When the last clip ended, the room did not applaud. They did not need to. You could feel the decision land. Sergeant Rivera handed Trisha a printed trespass order. "You are banned from Rosso Crest Motors," he said. "If you return, you will be removed. You are also being referred to the county for charges related to fraud and harassment." She tried to step around him and grab Noah's phone, and he moved once, quick and neat, and said that was not a smart choice unless she wanted to spend the evening in a holding room with a flickering light and a vending machine. We walked outside together because the show was not done. Trisha had parked her white SUV across 2 handicapped spaces without a placard, and the tag on her plate had expired 2 months ago. I did not call for a tow truck, but one was already out front on another job, and like fate loves a clean ending. The driver was swinging by to grab a car around the corner. He saw the lights and walked over, checked the plate, checked with the officers, and shook his head with that tired smile you see on people who have done this dance 1,000 times. He backed up and threw the hook. Trisha stood in front of the bumper like a human stop sign and shouted about her rights. Rivera folded his arms and said, "This is not a movie, ma'am. This is what happens when you ignore rules that apply to everyone else." As the chains tightened, I stepped forward with an "Anvolt." This part I had not planned for today, but I had drafted it last week and my attorney slipped it into my bag for whenever I felt ready. Civil suit, harassment, trespass, fraud. Every forged notice listed every date, every clip pulled and labeled. My hands did not shake when I gave it to her, but my heart thudded once because I am not a man who enjoys beating people in public. And even when it is deserved, it feels like you are leaning on a bruise. She said I deserved to be ruined for embarrassing her. I told her embarrassment is not something people do to you. It is what happens when the truth finally catches up. She looked past me at the crowd, probably hoping someone would step forward and tell us all this was a misunderstanding. No one did. A woman from our service department, Tasha, called out that Trisha made her pay a fine for having a tomato plant by the walk. A man in a ball cap said he would like his $300 back for a porch chair violation. Trisha's eyes went shiny like tears had started but changed their mind. The tow truck creaked, her SUV lifted, and you could see the moment she understood that the thing was not coming back today. She turned to the officers and said she would sue the city, the dealership, me, the kid with the phone. Officer Brooks told her filming in a public place is not a crime, that emergencies do not make you right, and that there was nothing left here to argue. He asked if she had someone to